Hello, my name is Karen Fabian, and welcome to Living Well, your show for information and inspiration to improve your health and wellness. On today's show, I'll share with you some yoga poses you can do to build strength. Yoga is a great way for building flexibility, but it's also wonderful for building muscle. For our medical mindfulness segment, we'll meet Ann Knock, a physical therapist and yoga teacher, and we're going to be speaking to her about what it takes to keep your heart healthy. In our extended segment on technology and wellness, we'll also meet Dr. Gil Blander, the founder and chief science officer at Inside Tractor. Dr. Blander is an expert in aging and biomarker analytics. He will be sharing information about research on aging, what actions can keep us young from the inside out, and the technology he and his colleagues have created to help people, including performance athletes, live healthy and perform optimally. I'll tell you about our Living Well Viewer Challenge, something to get you thinking about actions you can take to improve your health. If you're watching the show in Boston on BNN or streaming it live on your computer, great. Remember, after the show airs, it is available on YouTube, so please share it. You can find it on my YouTube channel, Bare Bones Yoga, or the BNN channel. I also want to thank our primary sponsor, Yoga Reaches Out. Yoga Reaches Out raises funds for organizations that impact the health, education, and well-being of children. Their website is yogareachesout.org. I'd also like to thank my friends at Zoomies Coffee, 221 Main Street in Charlestown, for being another major sponsor for the show. If you're looking for great coffee, breakfast, and lunch, stop by. So let's begin our show. I'd like to welcome Emily Wiswell on. Emily is a yoga teacher in Boston. Welcome.
Thank you.
Where do you teach classes?
So in the Boston area, I teach at Health Yoga Life in Beacon Hill.
That's in Beacon Hill, okay.
Yep. And Center Yoga in Woburn.
Okay, yeah. Awesome. Well, we're going to be doing some strength building poses, and you're going to show the pose. We'll talk a little bit about it. Do you hear from your students that strength is one of the things that they want to focus on along with flexibility?
Yeah, certainly. I think a lot of students are concerned whether yoga is just for relaxation or just gentle, but there's actually a huge power and strength component as well.
Absolutely, and I think the poses we're going to go through today emphasize that aspect, so that's a great lead-in. So the first pose we're going to do is plank. So why don't you come into plank and we'll talk a little bit about this. So as Emily comes into the pose, one of the things you'll notice is she starts out by stacking her shoulders right over her wrists, and this concept of aligning your joints is really excellent for keeping the body really strong, being able to kind of leverage the shape of the pose. So Em, as you're in this posture, are you using your core here as well?
Yep.
Yeah, so give us a sense of kind of what you're doing through there, drawing up and in.
Yeah, you just kind of want to draw everything up. There's also leg strength involved too.
Yep.
Drawing in the abdominals.
Mm-hmm. Excellent, and pressing back through the heels, really getting the legs active. So if you wanted to modify this, if someone felt like, wow, this is like really challenging for me right now, what kinds of things could we do?
You can always drop the knees.
Excellent, and that's a good way to kind of amp it down a bit. What if we wanted to kind of amp it up? Could we bring the forearms down?
Yep, you can take forearm plank.
Mm-hmm. And so how do we do that? Okay, awesome. And you'll notice as she's here in the posture, her shoulder blades are really flat to her back. There's really no crunching up of the shoulders towards her ear. Still using your core?
Mm-hmm, definitely.
Okay, excellent. Well, come on down. Let's do the next one. So the cool thing about plank is you can do it head on and you can tip it on its side. So let's come into side plank now, which brings in that aspect of balancing. So you see she comes, she brings her feet together, she's keeping that long line from her shoulder down to her wrist, and really active through the legs. Again, core, right? Really active through the core. And you'll notice just the straight line down. So what's the modification for this one? How can we kind of dilute it?
You can always bring your knee down.
Excellent. Yeah, and you'll notice the stacking here too. The knee pretty much under the hip gives you that ability to press straight down. This is great for building leg strength, really grounding posture. All right, so let's come up onto the feet. Let's go through Warrior One pose. All right, so, this posture is an interesting one because it has both qualities, strength and flexibility. As she flexes her right hip, she's getting kind of the strength aspect. As she extends her left hip, she's getting the stretch through her left hip flexor. So it's got kind of that that double quality. So, you know, for someone who has really tight shoulders, sometimes you can kind of work wider arms. What about, Emily, through the feet? Could you bring your right foot a little to the right?
Yeah, widening your base is always a great modification.
Yeah, and what if we brought the feet a little closer together? Does that feel a little more grounding?
Yeah.
Yeah, so these are some things sometimes when you work with newer students.
Yeah,
that
definitely.
They can kind of get really kind of into the posture by bringing the feet a little closer together. Some of the variations, let's just kind of throw this in here. What if you were to stay in the posture in terms of the legs and interlace the hands behind the back? So this shape you'll see gets you a little bit more stretch through the shoulders. And you could, if you wanted, do a little bit more of a shoulder stretch if you took a bow forward and just kind of kept the legs as they are. Yeah, so these are just some of the variations you can do with this pose to kind of work different shapes to focus on different aspects. Excellent. Okay, so come on up. Let's do the next one. Let's come into chair pose. So just kind of walk us through what you're doing as you're...
Yeah, so I bring my toes together to touch. There's a little slight separation of the heels. And then you sit down and sweep the arms up, kind of as if you were sitting in a chair.
Yeah, sitting in a chair. Great. Now, what are some of the shifts you can do depending on how the person might feel?
Sitting down and also back. So you don't want to dip forward and like bring all of your weight into your toes. So sitting down and back, softening the shoulders, relaxing the ribs.
Got it. And what about foot-wise, if someone wants a little shift there?
You can always widen the feet to make it a little easier.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, typically widening the base is a great way to create more stability. This is a really grounding posture. You know, if you ever have talked to anybody about chakras, this is a really good root chakra pose, really bring you into your kind of initial kind of feeling of groundedness in the body. Okay, great. So let's do one more. Let's come down and come into boat pose. And just give us a sense as you're coming into it, what you're focusing on. So this is definitely a grounding pose, but it's a balancing posture as well. Yeah, so she's balancing right on her sitting bones there, right at the base of her pelvis. And core in this one?
Yes.
Yeah, this is right up the center line of the body. This is kind of your center line here. What are some of the different shapes we can take with this one to modify it?
So some people, if they'd like a little more of a challenge, you can always extend the legs.
Yep.
And if you want a modification, you could bring toes down or hands down.
Hands down. Great. Great. Have you ever done anything like hands at the heart center, adding a little twisting action?
Yeah, to get into the obliques inside body.
Yeah, and so this is really nice because you're using that center line of the body for that strengthening focus, but now, as she said, using the obliques, which are kind of that side twisting muscle on both sides of the body, to bring some of that rotational force in there as well. Excellent. This always gets a lot of moans and groans from people in class, right?
I can imagine.
Yeah, let's not hold this one too long. Well, excellent. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, been informative for folks. And stay tuned because our next segment is our medical mindfulness segment. We're going to meet Ann Knock. We'll be talking a little bit about cardiac health.
It's harder whenever there's a bigger group. Pretty much a good day for me would be people leaving their hands off of me. I'm always called names. Everywhere that I go, there's always someone calling me names, calling me gay. I've been choked, thrown up against a wall, punched. Nobody's ever tried to help me.
Hi, and welcome back. We're now heading into our medical mindfulness segment. And in these segments, we're going to be focusing on how traditional medicine is blending different aspects of Eastern medicine into traditional patient treatment plans, things like yoga, meditation, and acupuncture. In today's segment, we're going to focus on cardiac health and using yoga as a tool in patients with heart conditions. This is Ann Knock. Hi, Ann.
Hi.
Ann has been practicing yoga for 16 years. She is a physical therapist and a certified Kripalu yoga teacher. Anne has been teaching yoga for cardiac and cancer patients at Newton Wellesley Hospital, emphasizing stress reduction and relaxation. Her classes are designed for anybody and all levels of experience, with a particular focus on breathing and concentration. So welcome to the show, and thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. I mentioned in the introduction that you're a physical therapist as well as a yoga teacher. So can you share a little bit about why you pursued getting additional training or related training as a yoga teacher?
So my physical therapy is in the realm of cardiac rehab and cancer rehab and pulmonary rehab.
Okay.
And much of what we're teaching them is about exercise and aerobic exercise and the health and wellness of that. But the side of the relaxation is something that I knew from my own yoga practice, and I wanted to share that with my patients. So I had actually gone to a conference by the AACVPR, it's a national organization for cardiac rehab professionals, and there was a workshop on yoga for for cardiac patients. And I went to the workshop and got energized about bringing that back to Newton Wellesley. So the hospital underwrote us to go and be trained and bring it back. So it's just adding a relaxation component to the exercise component that we were already doing.
So what kinds of patients are you working with? So cardiac patients.
Right.
Is it any age, or do they need to be a specific level in order to use yoga?
No, it's all ages and stages. We have 50-year-old competitive athletes, and we have 90-year-olds coming in with a walker. We have everyone.
Wow.
They just have to have a heart event. And that's all they need. So they come in for their cardiac rehab, and the yoga is a piece of that process for them. Most of it is in the chair, so it's very accessible for everyone. But actually, sometimes that chair-based slow piece is harder for the young fit person than for the older person.
Harder
to slow down,
to
slow down,
especially
and not be doing something. You know, so it fits both. It really does blend all the ages and stages.
So what kinds of things, I mean, just to kind of boil it down, what kinds of cardiac events would bring somebody into the hospital?
Someone who's had a heart attack, a valve surgery, a bypass surgery. We have some patients with heart failure who also come to the class. So any of those overarching diagnoses.
Got it. Excellent. Can you give us just some general guidelines for cardiac health given your experience?
So especially coming from American Heart, they're going to want you to exercise, aerobic exercise, 4 to 7 days a week, 30 to 40 minutes. Maintain a healthy weight with eating plant-based, whole food diet. And regular relaxation practices is now part of the guidelines. So keeping yourself more relaxed can help your heart health as well.
Got it. Well, everybody, you know, they always have the intention but don't find the time. It's hard to find the time. So what kinds of techniques might somebody employ to get it in there?
I often recommend people put it in their diary. Sometimes making an appointment with a trainer. Putting it into a gym is sometimes motivating because it's somewhere you're committed to go and you pay for. Those are some of the best strategies, really.
Got it. Are there any resources that you have that you might want to share? Any, like a DVD or a tape or anything?
We did make a CD. I brought a copy. We have a CD available at the Newton Wellesley gift shop. It's a gentle healing yoga sequence, half an hour, mainly in the chair. I've given it to my parents. They could do it. Anyone can do it, really. But just another little pause in your week that you might take some time to just relax rather than being busy all the time.
That is great. You enjoy what you do?
Yeah.
What are is there like one particular aspect of your work that you really enjoy?
I like it all. I love the person who comes in and says, I've never done yoga, I'm a little afraid of that. And then they come out and they say, wow, I feel more relaxed than when I started. I enjoyed that.
Oh, that's fabulous.
The best.
That's great. That is great. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. I've loved sharing this information with our viewers, and I really appreciate your time in coming.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Coming up in our next segment, we're going to learn about what your blood can tell you about your health. Stay tuned.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home, walk, restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
French fries. Finding best potatoes.
No!
Russet. Fingerling. Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Hi, and welcome back. We're now heading into our extended segment called Technology and Wellness. On these segments, we're going to be focusing on the merging of technology and health via different avenues, whether it's devices, testing, monitoring, and anything that leverages technology to improve overall health and wellness. I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Gil Blander.
Hello.
Hi. Dr. Blander is the initial founder, president, and chief science officer of Inside Tracker. He is an expert in aging and biomarker analytics and brings more than 18 years of experience in systems biology, aging, metabolism, and caloric restriction research. He's worked at MIT, the Weizmann Institute, and several systems biology, computational biology companies. Inside Tracker is a fascinating company. It's a service that allows you, through a blood sample, to understand critical aspects of your health and wellness. By looking at certain biomarkers, and we're going to talk about what that is, the service was originally developed to help athletes improve their performance and now has expanded to be used by the general public to improve their health, longevity, and well-being. So, that's a mouthful. Welcome to the show, Dr.
Thank you
Blander.
so much.
I'm so excited to have you here. I found Inside Tracker doing some research online, and it's just so great that I was able to make some connections and get you on the show because I'm fascinated by what the company does.
That's great.
Tell us in understandable terms what biomarker analytics are.
Yeah, biomarkers are markers that represent something that's happening in your body.
Okay.
Like if you look at your car, you have a marker that shows that your amount of gasoline in your gas tank is low.
Yes.
So that's a marker.
Okay.
Biomarker can tell you whether your glucose is high, whether you are too stressful, whether you are drinking too much.
Okay.
So we are using those markers in order to give us some information about your body. And then when you know that, we can recommend you an intervention that will help you to improve this situation.
Got it. And these are biomarkers you see by looking at the blood specifically. We're
Yeah.
talking blood specifically.
Yes, so currently we are using blood because we see blood as a liquid gold. Basically, it's something that is so valuable.
Okay.
And there is so much information there. And also the blood telling you exactly what's happening in your body right now, while if you look at your genomics, it will tell you what it's your potential. But the blood will tell you what's happening in your body right now.
Understandable. What kind, you mentioned glucose, what other kinds of blood biomarkers are you looking
So
at?
we are looking at around 30 blood biomarkers.
Okay.
Other interesting blood biomarkers that we are looking at are, one of them is cortisol, which is cortisol.
It's a stress hormone,
It's a
right?
stress hormone.
Okay.
That basically can tell you whether you are too stressful or not. And when you are, the problem that when you are stressed or when you have this issue, that your body will start to break muscle in order to provide energy to the body. So
Okay.
it's not so good to have a high stress level for a longer time. The reason that we have this hormone is because at the old age, when a bear was hunting us, we had to extract as much energy as we can in order
Kind of
to
like
run
fight or
away.
flight syndrome.
Yeah, exactly,
Yes.
run away. But now when we have the TV and the iPhone and the iPad and all of that, we have a lot of stress all the time, and so a lot of people have a high level of stress, and then that can start influence the body, the muscle tone, and a lot of other effects which are not good.
So you're saying our technological devices are not super great for our health?
Everything is in moderation. So
Okay.
definitely they are good because you get a lot of information, but it's not good to look at your iPad at 10 p.m.
Yeah.
And it's not good to sleep next to your iPhone because you will get all those bees and then you
yes.
will wake up in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of simple interventions that you can have in order to improve the quality of your life and sleep.
Got it.
Just by a very simple intervention.
Got it. Okay. Well, one of the things that I was thinking about when I was preparing for this segment is how is blood biomarker analysis different than when you go get a physical and your doctor takes your blood and they do a blood panel?
So the first step is exactly the same. So the physician will draw your blood. We are sending you to a lab like LabCorp and Quest, which are actually, the physician is using it in order to analyze your blood. The next step is that we receive the data from the lab. And then we start to analyze it and look at your result and give you an optimal zone just for you. So based on your age and gender and ethnicity, athletic activity, amount of alcohol that you drink, and so on and so forth, we can give you an optimal zone that is just for you. When you do it at your physician office, everyone will receive the same normal zone. So my normal zone will be the same as your normal zone. My daughter's normal zone will be the same as my wife's normal zone, and so on and so forth. So we said that that's wrong because each of us is unique. Let's bring you an optimal zone just for you, for each biomarker. Next, when we know whether you are above or below the optimal zone, we can subscribe you an intervention that will help you to bring this biomarker to your optimal zone.
So what kinds of things would you recommend? Something in diet?
Yeah, so we are actually focused on 4 different kind of intervention. It's food or diet, supplement, exercise, and lifestyle changes.
The lifestyle changes is like the phone and the technology.
The phone, or you have low vitamin D, expose yourself to the sun. But we see the focus should be in the food. And the reason for that is that if you look at the variety of food that's available today, there is around 8,000 food items that you can consume. If you look at the average American and ask him how many, and just do a survey, what he consumed in the last week, you will see that he consumed only around 20. So basically, we are using only a tiny bit of the variety of food that's available. So what we are trying to do is to expose you to a different kind of food that actually is better for you. Because for me, avocado might be great, but for you, papaya will be better. So we see that let's try to use food as a drug of choice. And then use the food in order to optimize ourselves.
And you do kind of get in a rut and eat the same thing all the time. So that would be interesting. Tell us a little bit about, I want to touch on the aging piece. Because I know that's one of the panels that you do is specifically around aging. Talk about that.
So we developed a new panel that's called Inner Age.
Inner Age,
And this panel looks at 5 key blood biomarkers that help us to assess what is your inner age. So you have the chronological age. Basically, we calculate the age when from the moment that you born to today. And then we have the inner age that basically we can assess based on the biomarkers. Now, when we find whether you are above or below your inner age, we can subscribe to you an intervention that we call it focus foods. And focus foods are food that are very rich. They are nutrient rich in the ingredient that will help you to optimize the biomarkers that cause your inner age to be higher. And then if you follow that, it will help you to decrease your inner age.
So this actually could impact how long you live if you make these changes.
Exactly. So we spent a couple of years researching which biomarkers are mostly related to aging or longevity. And we did that with key professors from Harvard and MIT. Actually, all of us are from Boston. And those professors are the leaders in the aging research in the world. And we extracted from that the 5 key biomarkers that related mostly to longevity. One of them is glucose, actually. So when even if your glucose is around 90, which is still in the normal zone, and you are 40 years old, the male, your longevity will be much shorter, the expected longevity, whether if your glucose will be only 80. So basically, we're helping people to find an issue when it's very small, help them to find a solution for that, and hopefully allow them to live longer and be healthier.
That is awesome. Well, I am just so enlightened here. This has been so interesting, and I thank you so much for coming on the show. Don't forget, you can check out this information on the Inside Tracker website. There's a lot of information on there as well about what Dr. Blander has spoke about. Thank you so much for being on the show. Stay tuned for our next segment, which is our Living Well Twitter Challenge.
When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke.
I'm Paul George, and I want you to spot a stroke fast.
F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. Protect the ones you love. Spot a stroke fast.
Hi, and welcome back. Before we end the show, I'd like to share with you a challenge. This is our Living Well Twitter challenge. Think about something that you might like to give up, something that you'd like to add to your life to improve your overall health and wellness. It could even be something you learned from today's show, a way to relax, maybe something new to try to add to your diet. And whatever your inspiration is, tweet it to #LivingWellBNN. And I'm going to pick a couple people to get a little gift pack. And it's going to include a copy of my book, Stretched, which is about building a yoga business and different teaching techniques. So don't forget, go on Twitter, #YourInspiration, #LivingWellBNN. So I hope you've enjoyed the show. I've enjoyed sharing it with you and sharing the guests and the information about health and wellness. Look for our show on the Bare Bones Yoga YouTube channel, the BNN YouTube channel, and share it with your friends and family. Between now and our next show, live well.